show dirt time. There he is. Did you see that? That was so cool. And one of my favorite show dirts we have ever done. Low water condition last year, got to a lake, and probably my favorite technique. Look, I like every technique, like all of you, that's catching fish, right? But growing up, boat docks, like right outside of the barn, that's pretty much how I grew up fishing. And I did it with a soft plastic stick worm, a tube. Probably my favorite bait is skipping a structure jig under docks. We've shot a lot of shows about that. But one day, about 8 years ago, my son Jacob said, "Dad, you ever skip a frog under a dock?" I'm like, "No, why would I ever do that, bud?" "Yes, sir. I'm throwing a sexy frog in green pumpkin orange. I'm trying to make it look not at all like a frog in any way. I'm trying to make it look like as much like a little bluegill on the surface as I can. I am not trying to mimic a frog. I am trying to mimic one of those little bluegills. If you see a bluegill that's dying, he kind of gets on the top of the water. That is a seal out at Seal Island that's gonna get hit by a great white shark. After the fish spawn, they get really conditioned to other lures. Really the last 6 years, I started goofing around, throwing a sexy frog on boats. My entire setup is catered to that bait. Well, taking a look at this naughty little assassin right here, Strike King Sexy Frog, green pumpkin with an orange throat. And here's the great thing that we saw that day on that little lake. That lake gets a lot of pressure. It was extreme low water. If you look at just the seawall on this lake, I mean, we're talking the water's that far down, and on a 1,000 acre or a 20,000 acre lake, that changes the way a fish is going to behave and where he lives. Wow, it is wickedly low. What's weird about low water, to me, it can condense them. It can condense them on an outside grass line, just because a lot of the flats, it gets so low, they won't sit on a lot of flats all day, so they can get on an outside grass line, or they'll use whatever the heck they can use, like Mr. Pontoon Boat. The thing is, it just makes them have to utilize whatever they can utilize. You would look at a lot of those docks. I grew up hearing deepest docks, deepest docks, deepest docks, docks near deep water. That is absolutely true at times. Whoa. But for the majority of times that the lakes that I grew up on, the docks that are ignored, the docks where you literally take your trolling motor and you're blowing mud everywhere. Wow. Those are, to me, the best bigger fish docks. And just look at what they did to that poor sexy frog. I mean, think about that. These docks right here will really have them later. There was like a 5-pounder just cruising outside of there. They were hitting that front. There were some strike shots in this show captured by cameraman Wes Miller that I was like, dude, did you get that? Bigot. There he is. Did you see that? That was so cool. I watched that whole thing happen right there. It was so great. Dude, they're aggressive today. The other thing, I was using a rod and a reel. It's really a whole system. I was using a LEWS Pro SB skipping reel. And if you look at this reel, a very, very, very shallow spool to where, look, the biggest problem skipping with a bait caster is exploding the reel and never wanting to do it again. That real shallow spool will make you a better skipper. The other thing, the rod I was using was a KVD LEWS 7'2" medium heavy frog skipping rod, 65-pound SEAGUAR braid. And the one thing I can tell you for this, well, actually I'm gonna tell you a few things. I'm gonna go through a couple things. Good, yeah, that was awesome. Get ready for the rest of the day right there, bud. Oosh. I'm gonna go through real quick as you're watching some of this footage. I'm gonna go through some of the keys I think that are the keys of dock fishing. Number one, if you're right-handed, go in a clockwise position so you're able to skip. not backhand, you're able to skip. I always say it's like skipping a stone, nice and soft. The other thing, law of average, fish as many as you can. When you have a key set of docks, fish them, let them rest, fish them again. Biggest key, have a follow-up bait. Just have a follow-up bait. But most of all, when they bite that frog, hammer them. Make them learn about LEWS. You're gonna learn about LEWS. Gosh, what a bite. The other thing, don't overthrow the bait. If you look at how I'm pitching that bait, skipping that bait, I'm never winding up and throwing a fastball with my entire arm. Skipping a frog, skipping a jig, skipping anything on a dock, it's a roll of the wrist. It's just like skipping a stone. Last but not least, when your bait goes under a dock, no matter what you're throwing, okay, make sure you are instantly, what I call safety off, that you are in position to set the hook as hard as you can. Bigot. Yeah. Wow. Look at the mud. Look at the mud right there. Dude, that is getting your lure.
Hi, I'm Mr. Sexy Frog in green pumpkin with an orange throat. I love,
Right. Listen, let's do an animation right now. He was so nice at the beginning of the show. He had a little squeaky voice.
Hey, look at me, I'm Pippet. I want to go under a boat. It's cooler under here. I have a red balloon. I have a red balloon.
Boosh. And over. And over. And somewhere during this shoot, Pippet became hardened, lost the balloon. Pippin became a construction worker, a little bit broken down. Perhaps Pippet's name turned to Saul.
My name's Saul. How you doing?
And he had a limp, smoked a dart, one eyeball. He's got a piece of wood stuck right in his amphibious little side, and he's just taking shots. I always pay attention to how a fish hits a bait. I always pay attention to how a fish hits a bait. And that first fish this morning really told me everything we needed to do. Look at how shallow that is. It's maybe 8 inches of water. Look, he went right back under. I'm gonna try to catch him again. And that's one thing that I really pay attention to a lot, is how aggressively or unaggressively a fish bites a bait, to know if that's what I need to keep doing the rest of the day. And it was funny, I told cameraman Jake after that first one, I said, I know exactly what we're doing the entire rest of the day. Never, ever. Gosh dang, man. Never heard it. My line just went to the right. Like, I checked it too. Would you see me check it? Little slurpinstein. Gosh. You know what? 2 words. We are done. It's awesome. God, what a day. See you, dude. And I will tell you, remember this year. When you look at a set of boat docks and you're like, dang it, dude, that is way too shallow. Go shallower. Do me a favor, hit like and subscribe, hit the little notification bell. More show dirts coming with footage like this. Gosh, what a bite. Did you see that bite? And that scared the fire out of me.